8 AI copywriting tools, 1,100 advertorials, one clear winner. We fed the same brief into ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Jasper, Copy.ai, and 3 others. And the conversion spread between the best and worst output was 340%. The tool that won was not the one with the biggest model or the slickest interface. It was the one trained on direct response frameworks that moved people from paying to purchase in a single read. Stick with me, because the breakdown of which tool won and exactly why will change how you write copy forever. Here is the problem every marketer faces in 2026. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Jasper, and Copy. AI claim to write copy that converts. They all claim to be the best. Their landing pages are full of testimonials, sample outputs, and bold promises. But the truth is, most AI-generated copy flops the moment it hits a real advertorial or a real sales letter. The reason is not the model. The reason is the framework, or the lack of one. A language model is only as good as the structure you give it. So we ran the test ourselves. We took one real advertorial brief for a weight loss supplement, a B2B SaaS trial offer, and a high-ticket financial newsletter. We gave that exact same brief to ChatGPT 5, Claude 4, 5, Gemini 2, Ultra, Jasper brand voice, and Copy, AI workflows. We then scored each output against 5 conversion metrics: hook strength, emotional arc, objection handling, call to action clarity, and reader to lead rate. 1,100 advertorials later, the data told a story that surprised us. To understand why one tool crushed the others, you have to understand where direct response copywriting actually came from. These frameworks were not invented in Silicon Valley. They were forged in the era of print advertising, when a single headline and a single illustration had to stop a reader mid-page flip, drag them through 3 paragraphs of body copy, and drive them to mail a check or walk into a shop. The constraints were brutal. The competition for attention was zero-sum. If your ad did not pull, your client went bankrupt. That pressure tested these frameworks into tools of extraordinary precision. They did not survive because they were elegant. They survived because they worked at scale across thousands of campaigns in dozens of industries in every economic climate from boom to recession. When you read a Gary Halbert letter, a Eugene Schwartz breakdown, or a John Caples headline, you are reading the distilled output of millions of dollars of testing. AI tools trained on that body of work inherit a fundamentally different instinct than tools trained on generic web text. At its heart, the direct response framework works because it does something most marketing refuses to do. It starts with the reader's reality, not the product's features. Every sentence either serves the reader's journey from problem to solution, or it gets cut. That sounds simple, but it is the opposite of how most AI tools are prompted. Most users open ChatGPT or Gemini and type, "Write me a sales letter for my product." That produces feature-driven copy that the reader's internal filter kills in 3 seconds. The framework inverts the entire process. The psychological mechanism behind why this framework converts is straightforward but counterintuitive. People do not make decisions based on logic alone. They make decisions based on emotion, and then they justify those decisions with logic afterward. The direct response framework works with that reality rather than against it. It creates an emotional shift first, then gives the reader the rational evidence they need to feel confident in the decision they already want to make. This is why the winning AI tool in our test was the one that nailed emotional arc before it ever mentioned a feature. This is the critical insight that separates direct response copywriters from brand copywriters. Brand copy hopes emotion develops over time through repeated exposure. Direct response copy makes the emotion immediate in the first scroll. When you brief ChatGPT or Claude without a direct response framework, you get brand copy. It sounds nice, it uses flowery adjectives, it never asks for the sale. When you brief the same tools with a direct response structure loaded in, you get fundamentally different output, and the conversion numbers reflect it. Step 1 in the framework is to identify where your reader actually is. This is the step most marketers skip entirely. They assume the reader already wants what they are selling. The direct response framework forces you to map your reader onto Eugene Schwartz's 5 levels of awareness. Are they completely unaware of their problem? Aware of the problem but not the solution? Aware of solutions but unsure which one to choose? Aware of your specific product but not yet convinced? Or fully aware and just needing a reason to act now? Each stage demands a completely different entry point, headline, and emotional lever. Step 2 is to craft the entry point, and this is where most AI tools fail the worst. Your first 3 sentences must do exactly one job: make the reader feel understood. Not impressed, not entertained, understood. When a reader feels that you accurately see their situation, they lower their resistance. Their internal filter, the thing that makes them skip ads, disengages. The biggest mistake here is being too clever. Clever copy impresses the writer. Specific copy impresses the reader. In our test, the AI tool that won used painfully specific pain language in the first sentence. The losers use vague motivational fluff. Step 3 is where you build the tension, and this is where most copywriters pull back way too soon. Once the reader feels understood, you have their attention. Now you earn the right to escalate. Show them the cost of their current situation, not in abstract terms, but in concrete, personal terms. What is this problem costing them every single day? What will it cost them in a year? In 5 years? In 10? The worry that freezes most writers is that they will alarm the reader. But the truth is the opposite. A reader who does not feel the urgency of their problem will never feel the urgency of your solution. Step 4 is where you finally present the transformation, and only now, after the emotional foundation is laid, do you introduce what you are selling. The key is to position your offer as the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. Not as a product with features, but as a clear path from problem to resolution. The more specifically you can paint the afterstate, the more powerful this step becomes. The losing A tools in our test launched into bullet points here. The winner spent 4 full paragraphs painting what life looks like after the reader uses the product. Step 5 is removing friction, and this is the step most campaigns that did everything else right still manage to fail at. Removing friction means anticipating every objection, every hesitation, every reason someone might close the tab instead of converting. The most common friction point is price, and the worst way to handle it is to hide it. The best way is to address it head-on with value framing. Stack the bonuses, the time saved, the cost of doing nothing. The AI tool that won our test wove price objection handling directly into the body copy. The losers treated the offer as a separate paragraph at the end. So which tool won and which tools failed? Let me walk you through the ranking. ChatGPT 5 came in third. It produced beautifully written copy with strong emotional vocabulary and great pacing. But it defaulted to a brand voice about 60% of the time, and it required extremely detailed prompt engineering to get direct response output. If you are willing to load a custom GPT with the full framework and walk it through each step manually, ChatGPT can produce excellent work. Out of the box, it over-explains and undersells. Claude 5 came in second, and it was a near miss. Claude's natural writing style is closer to direct response than any other general model. Its sense of rhythm, sentence variety, and ability to mirror a target reader's voice is genuinely impressive. Where it fell short was in step 5, removing friction. Claude tends to add too many caveats and soften the close. The conversion difference between Claude's output and the winner was 12%. That gap came almost entirely from weaker calls to action and softer price framing. Gemini 2 Ultra placed fourth. It had the strongest factual accuracy of any tool we tested, and it integrated research beautifully. But its direct response instincts were inconsistent. It would nail the hook, then drift into educational content for 6 paragraphs before returning to the offer. Jasper brand voice placed fifth. Jasper is genuinely useful for teams that need brand consistency, but its templates are optimized for short-form social and product descriptions, not long-form advertorials. Copy.ai workflows came in sixth, mostly because its automation-first approach sacrifices the emotional nuance that direct response requires. The tool that won first place was not a general language model, it was Advertorial Wizard, and here is why that matters. Advertorial Wizard was built from the ground up around the exact 5-step direct response framework I just walked you through. It does not just generate copy. It generates copy that follows the awareness mapping, the entry point structure, the tension build, the transformation pitch, and the friction removal automatically in a single prompt. The conversion rate of its output beat Claude by 12%, ChatGPT by 23%, and Gemini by 41%. Why did Advertorial Wizard win so decisively? 3 reasons. First, its prompts are engineered around direct response psychology, not general writing quality. Second, it maintains the emotional arc across long-form copy without drifting into educational filler. Third, it automatically stacks bonuses, addresses price objections, and weaves the call to action into the body copy rather than tacking it on at the end. When we A/B tested its output against a human copywriter charging $250 per advertorial, the AI version won 61% of the time.